Okay, I don't know if this is going to be a long one or it'll probably be pretty short, but I can't remember if I've told this story before, so I'm going to go for it. About the time I tried to become a writer for Anime News Network. Now, throughout my writing career, in my early days, I actually submitted a lot of writing to like different, well, okay, not a lot, but I submitted writing to various publications and stuff like that. Like I used to try to write reviews for like websites and shit. Even if you go through like my mal, I have like several mal reviews that are still up, and like you can find reviews I wrote on Game FAQs. You can find reviews I wrote on RP Gamer. If you could figure out what names I had on those websites, hint it was not Digi, bro. But I've got reviews all over the place, and I tried to submit them to like some professional sites. And the big one was Anime News Network. Now, I had always heard that Zach Bertsky, or whatever his name is, who runs ANN, was like kind of an asshole. That was what I'd been told by anime bloggers. I have no idea how true that is. I've heard from other people that he's a nice guy. I'm sure he probably comes off as an asshole to people who he disagrees with on their stance on whatever. Anime bloggers tend to be pretty pro-piracy and pretty anti, like, Western anime media, so, who knows why. But that was his reputation. Now I, as a very arrogant, like insanely arrogant, I don't think it's unfair to say that I was insanely arrogant as a teenager. As an insanely arrogant young writer who wanted to get my name out there and be known as like the cute girls moe fan service lolly guy, I took this approach of look, I didn't really read a lot of Anime News Network reviews. I read like a few of them. I was more familiar with their reputation than I was with their actual content, but like the way I saw it, they did not seem to be big into cute girls shows. Like, those shows did not get the strongest scores or the strongest reputation on ANN. And it seemed to me like ANN were mostly into like artsy, more adult contemporary shows, as opposed to like, some crappy bullshit that I was into. And what had spurred me on was they made a review of like the first 3 episodes of chu-bra, which was a show that was airing at the time that not a lot of people were talking about or watching, but it was sort of a lolly fan service show but it had some really interesting ideas in it. And namely that the main character is a third. No, are they in middle school or elementary school? I don't remember, but they're very young girls, and the main girl's like grandma or something is like a bra maker, and so the girl's like obsessed with bras, and like she's always like teaching people about bras and shit. It's pretty good, honestly. I really want to watch it with May, because it's just a bunch of cute girls talking about their underwear, and she would be way into that. But I saw this review that they did, and I thought it was uncharitable, and I wanted to write something more positive about it. And I think I had written this for one of my blogs at the time, but I had written like a review of the first 6 episodes with the intentions of it being like a very professional, like, full-blown review. And I sent an email to Zach of ANN, basically in a fairly accusatory way, telling him that no one on his writing staff was into moe enough, and that as a result, it was causing conflict with their audience. That, like, the reason people have a problem with ANN, because people in my circles did, is that they were too biased against this genre, and that maybe if they had a writer who was into that genre and could, like, take a more fair stance towards those shows, then they would not be having this problem. Like if you had somebody judging chu-bra who didn't have a clear disdain for the mere concept of a lolly fan service show, then maybe you could give a more fair review of it that people would respond to better. So that was essentially my argument. Now, it took forever for Zach to respond. Like, I want to say like a week and a half, 2 weeks. But he did. He was very defensive. And he said, like, look, all of our writers are given the ability to write however they want. Like, we're not trying to uphold like a singular image. Everybody's just writing their own tastes, and all of our writers are doing their own thing. And he worded this very curtly. It was a very aggressively defensive email. But essentially, he offered, if you think you're so dope, go ahead and submit your work, So, I submitted this episode 1 through 6 of chu-bra review. Now, I am absolutely certain that if I read this right now, it would be fucking abysmal. I am certain of that. Like, I remember even reading it like a few months later and being like, this isn't even good. But Zach did not respond for like a whole month. And when he did, he was fucking rough. And the funny thing about it is, I don't know if there were valid criticisms in there. If there were, I don't remember them. Because what I really fixated on was that he said, like, have you even read any ANN reviews? First of all, you wrote this whole thing in first person using the word I constantly, which is highly unprofessional for a review. Now, obviously, I disagree with this very strongly to this day. But the thing that got to me the most was that he had just said in the previous email that every writer for ANN had their own style, that they all had their own voice and their own opinions, and that they could write whatever they wanted. But then he hits me with, oh, you didn't follow the stylistic guidelines of Anime News Network? Like, I guess from his perspective, as like he probably views reviews as like more of a journalistic endeavor and doesn't think you should be inserting yourself into it. But personally, I think it's impossible not to. I think all journalism is gonzo journalism. Like, I call myself a gonzo journalist because I go out of my way to put myself in my work. But like, I think everybody is in your work, if you're a journalist. But nonetheless, especially as a review, you can't write an objective review unless you're going to write the Jim Sterling objective review, which is fucking hilarious. But like, just the way he responded was really fucking aggravating, and it made me never take ANN seriously again. Still, I would mount the same defense. I will argue, however, my post was very bad. It was badly written, but, not for the reasons he said. Anyway, that's all there is for that story. I just wanted to share it. I don't know if I've told it before. I probably have, but, it was on the mind.